The Runaways prepare for their final battle against Jonah. The Runaways prepare for their final battle against Jonah. But even victory may have larger consequences than any of them can see. Plus, Livvie is determined to clear Darius's name. But that means pitting the team back up against their parents and their corrupt cops. I guess there really is no going home. On Marvel's Runaways, Season 2, Episode 7, 8, and 9. Last Rites, Past Life, and Big Shot. Hey everyone, D here, and welcome to our continuing reviews of Season 2 of Runaways. So, as usual, lots of spoilers ahead. But then again, if you're watching this review, you've probably already watched the episode. So let's just go forward, assuming that. Alright, so, starting things off with prepping for the big battle with Jonah. And overall, I really kind of enjoyed Last Rites, the episode fully itself, but also sort of its setup. I mean, this is sort of a summation of where we've been going for the past season and a half, really. And we're dealing with some of our personality issues. Obviously, trust is kind of a continuing theme throughout Runaways. This one, of course, starting off with the team learning that Carolina's been dealing with Jonah, and then not necessarily trusting her to be around with that. Though Gert and Carolina's little discussion about what's actually down at the bottom of the hole and the whole extended alien family thing, yeah, that tends to cause adjustments to the plan. But they also have Alex's dad, Jeffrey, tied up in the basement. So, good source of information. And overall, that kind of gives us that secondary theme of this episode is really the parents and the kids working back together. Well, with mostly the same goal. A little different. Carolina and team, the original plan is really more to try and save the alien family and the ship, whereas Pride is just to take everything out as much as possible. But either way, they're still going against Jonah. Still kind of a good thing. Love, again, those little prep scenes. Very surprised that Jonah was honest with Pride about Jeffrey's fate, that he did try to kill him. Love Dale's line of, God, who wouldn't want Jeffrey Wilder inside them? Wait, that didn't come out right. That means something totally different. Again, York's is always used really well for comic relief, but also showing a little bit of a badass side this episode as Stacy and Dale are prepping their serum-shooting dart guns. Dale very committed to protecting his family. I kind of love that little badassery scene of his, of just like, you know, but if they're coming from my family, I'm taking him out. I mean, really, it's a good side. Yes, the Yorkses are kind of comic relief for the most part, but it's good to see that kind of more serious family committed side to them as well. And then, yeah, we've got the whole kind of little team up going in. Loved seeing Alex and his dad kind of working together. Again, this is teams with the same goal, not really kind of friendliness as his things sort of tend to pan out in the following episodes between Alex and his dad too. He's still pretty committed to taking them out, but it was nice to kind of have that moment, and I think, you know, as a father-son kind of bonding experience, you know, there was something to that. As for the battle itself, much shorter than I expected it to be. Really. But what we got out of it was some of the most badass Nico hero poses we could possibly see. I mean, yes, when everybody shows up and Carolina's got to pull everybody out of the hole and we just got Nico down at the bottom, I'll hold him off, I can with the staff. Sure, makes sense. That's sort of her position. But that rising out of the hole in that tornado whirlwind of just... I mean, way cool looking. And then when she did that after, you know, we had the little back and forth and they're shooting at the ship and everything. And Nico does that final big little jump. I mean, I'm curious how many takes that they had to do to get her pose right, because she looked really good going off that mini tramp. That's what I'm assuming she was jumping off of in order to get that type of height. But dipping the end of the staff inside the poison goo, leaping through the air with all the I mean, again, Jonah killed her sister as far as she knows. Not of anger being held up right there. But going through and just stabbing that right through him. I mean, really, this battle was all Nico. And we also kind of learn, apparently, from her little knockout, is that the staff of one is now Nico's. That's what Robert said. Is seems like the staff is hers now completely. So Tina can't use it at all. It is all Nico right now. So, really, just for sort of summing things up and giving us some great hero images, really did an amazing job. But I do have a couple of lingering questions, or observations, I guess, more about that battle. First off, the ship and the earthquakes. Now, the whole reason that we're trying to stop the ship from leaving is because if it did so, it would activate the hidden fault and it would take out Los Angeles. And even though we have Jonah saying, no, it's not going to happen, my ship can spin and move and adjust and everything, we do find out as it's leaving, Jonah saying, oh, well, I guess I was kind of lying about that part. I guess the city is going to be destroyed. But why wasn't the city destroyed? I mean, the ship was leaving. It was removing the faults. It did all of its thing. It looked like, I mean, maybe it wasn't completely out of the hole, but it looked like it was mostly out of the hole. And then it blowing up as it did, would that relieve the pressure? I mean, there were still earthquakes going on afterwards. I mean, the next episode they were talking about, minor earthquakes and stuff, but they put up such a danger here as like this, what the ship represents, and it's leaving in this mysterious fault, and yet the whole moving of the ship and the destruction of the ship seemed to have absolutely no effect on anything. So, to me, that was kind of a bit of a dropped ideal there. Either there should be no earthquakes, or they should all still be going on. There should be a sort of a better explanation of why removing that ship and having that giant cavity now form down there doesn't precipitate, since that was sort of the expected move, or was it just blasting out? Again, they were a little unclear on that, and that was something I thought, like I said, was a little bit dropped, of kind of like, well, victory! I guess that means we don't have to deal with these other things. Alright. And then there is Jonah, who isn't dead. I don't think. I mean, let me go in. And we're seeing in the episodes around. I mean, whole Jonah's thing is, Jonah is an alien. Creature, being of light. Crash lands on Earth. Basically possesses a body in order to survive. We get the whole through of the pastor and the revivalist tent in the following episode in past life. And then Jonah being a doctor that was coming to help trying to treat, and then that body was possessed by the being, we'll still call Jonah here just for simplicity. However, the reason he didn't start taking over other bodies, and the reason that we have all this sickness thing that was going on, the decay in that body, was because he wanted to stay in it. Why? Because he became Carolina's father, felt a connection, wanted to maintain being her father, and therefore had to stay in the Jonah body. Only way to do that was to be sucking life out of other people. So that explains the whole boxes, it explains the whole thing, why this is sort of a newer technology, and perhaps maybe that was one of the early things meeting up with Victor in order to build. Though, the technology seemed to be more out of his little book thing. But regardless, that sort of seems to be the case there. Is again, a creature of light, possessing bodies, jumping from body to body, and then having to sacrifice others in order to stay in that one body, since he wanted to be Carolina's dad. Great. But when he died, he does give that line, I guess we're going to have to take it all. And I do believe that means that he is possessing everybody. When the ship blows up, we've got all the whole cascade of light. And then when Jonah dies, we get the whole little light release out of the body. But then we get everybody's weird talkings. We got Tina with the whole cake thing. Very out of personality with her. And then we have Stacy also acting strange to Dale. And what we saw is what the creature told the Jonah doctor before possessing was that there's going to be a little battle, a back and forth. There'll be moments of consciousness on you, and then sooner or later it's all going to leave. Which is why I think when the light left him, the Jonah body was like, hey, what's going on? Who are you? Because that's the doctor now suddenly coming into consciousness before the body dies, and so does he. So I do believe that Jonah does not die in that final battle. Light cannot be killed. The light is everywhere. I mean, they hit on these themes constantly. Frank, certainly a committed believer in this sense. So I do believe that when Jonah died, his essence kind of went into everybody. And I think maybe that's why Carolina is hearing the voices. That's why Tina was acting strange. That's why Stacy was acting strange. And I think that explains what has happened to Gert and Lace. Because remember, we saw that Lace got sprayed with the liquid from the drone. And that drone is the Yorks. It's very similar to the one that Dale and Stacy sent down into the hole to in order to sort of do their first investigation of the ship. So I think that is what's going on, is now that Jonah is kind of in everybody's body, he's taking over it all of them. Now, whether he can stay in each one, or there's going to eventually be one of them that he sort of grabs hold of and possesses, could go either way from the information that we have so far with these episodes. But that does mean is that Jonah, light being, can be anyone. Anybody who was at the battle, whether it's Pride, whether it's the Runaways, which makes a real interesting set of possibilities going forward, and obviously creates a larger danger since Jonah is literally working behind the scenes outside of everyone's awareness and consciousness, but able to use their skills and access in order to achieve his end. So, yeah, was a great final battle, but isn't really the final battle. Now, the keeping of secrets seems to still be a continuing theme with this show, and also the constant heavy consequences of those secrets. You would think at this point the kids would kind of learn. I mean, we've got, of course, Carolina's secret finally revealed to everyone that she's been secretly meeting up with Jonah and learning what's going on about the ship, which, of course, causes the rest of the team to trust her less. We have Gert still keeping some secrets from Chase, which, again, is further affecting their relationship. And there was kind of an interesting bit. I get the sort of face-off in the hotel room with that delicious-looking cascade fountain of chocolate that Gert's college application ends up in. But even that was kind of a whole kind of interesting concept. I mean, one, I get Gert feeling upset about Chase and sort of feeling that he doesn't belong, they got to start thinking about tomorrow, a new future. That's sort of a natural type of thing. But nobody is talking. And so when Chase sees that, yes, I get his point. Is again, what we were saying is you do something, you keep these secrets, you don't tell me, and then it has this effect. And yet, as things kind of went on, especially with their relationship, it's I don't know, I think Chase is doing a little back and forth, and I don't know if that's poor writing or just being unclear in its presentation, because it does feel like sort of Chase pulls back from that relationship, and then he gets mad at Gert later on for pulling away, for not telling him about these things, that I thought we were supposed to work through these things like a couple. And it's like, you moved out. You said we were kind of done. You seemed to have indicated that the whole couple aspect was was over, and now you're upset at her for not approaching him and trying to work things out like a couple. Again, I understand this is more of a teen-oriented show, and so they have to have relationship issues and a lot of angst and stuff like this. But the back and forth almost does give me a little bit of whiplash. I mean, I do like that they seem to be getting together. In fact, all the couples seem to be going back together by the time we get to episode 9 here. Nico and Caroline are having a bit of their conversation. Gert and Chase seem to be getting back together, which is nice, considering then Gert passing out and is off near death. So, yeah, a lot of secrets, a lot of complications, and Alex, too. Alex, who really is becoming a lot more ruthless like his parents. And that was sort of hit on a few points, too, because he is all about kind of like, he's got his plans and he only tells people that he thinks is necessary. Even when he promised Livvie that he wasn't going to keep her secrets from her, he was immediately like, well, we're not going to tell the team. I told you that I'd be straight with you, but, you know, we won't tell them. We'll just blindside them and have them walk into a situation where the AWOL is there. At the restaurant. Yeah, that. Come on, gotta give people at least a small heads up. So all of that, really, there's again a lot of ruthlessness on Alex's part, which. But again, we do have similarities with parents. We were hitting where Nico was acting very similar to Tina. Molly had thrown that in her face. Here we're seeing Alex acting a lot more like his dad. So as much as he hates him and that he wants to put his parents away, almost to an obsessive point, to the exclusion of everything else, including being honest and straightforward with the rest of his team. Yes, he's the leader. He is the smart one. But if you don't tell your team what's going on, your team's not going to trust you, and therefore you are no longer a leader. And that is what is biting Alex kind of in the ass by the end of it all. It's certainly what drew Livvie away, which we had other couples that were sort of getting together. Livvie and Alex kind of came together and now pulling back apart, specifically because of this ruthlessness, these lies, not being straight. His whole agreement with AWOL kind of behind Livvy's back was definitely not something that she trusts. And she was smart to do so, because, of course, AWOL betrays them all in a heartbeat. Speaking of AWOL and Flores, yeah, kind of enjoying their little return here, them coming back as kind of a bit of a threat. Well, yes and no a threat. Loved Molly dealing with the cops, running away from the hotel. That whole situation there was awesome. But she's like, gets everybody out, bends the pipe over the door to stop the cops, then tells them, go away, removes the pipe in order to get caught. Why? Because she's not scared of the cops. She's certainly not as scared of being captured. She knows she can break out of anything. And that attitude really is setting into herself. Again, she's young, 14, almost 15. And certainly having that teenage attitude, the belief that we can take on the world. But in her case, she really can. The scene between her and Flores, I thought, was just perfectly hilarious. Flores has no idea what he's dealing with, just thinks it's a smart-ass kid. And when he talks about, well, I don't like having to hurt kids for information, but I guess we're going to. She just smiles like, you're not going to be smiling for long. You want to bet? I could use the cash. And then just mows through him. Well, almost mows through him. The team shows up. Blasted through, she's got Flores over her head. That was perfect. Wait, want to go get something to eat? I mean, it was just, I'm really enjoying sort of Molly's confidence in all of this, considering what she was going through in the post-Topher debacle. A little bit of a better side. And she's getting into her whole advice thing, you know, which is nice for her. I'm enjoying a lot of Molly's little evolution here, both as a fighter, her confidence, and as a friend. Just wanting to be there. Her little trying to connect in with Nico and stuff. It was all very sweet. This is kind of, it's an emotional edge that I think that we need to have in addition with this show. But Flores and AWOL, yeah. kind of some messed up stuff going on right there. When Flores said need to send a message, I was not expecting AWOL doing a drive-by against Livvie. Certainly not with the kid there, and of course having Alex there immediately identifies. The fact that Livvie was taping everything and has all of that on tape, beautiful, smart girl. Convenient in some ways, but I figured that if you are taking the kid from the hospital and you're making a tape and such, and drive-by goes on, at some point you would sort of instinctually pop that up. So it does sort of work within storylines. But what we see here, of course, with AWOL and Flores is we got the old school guy and the new school guy. And old school thinks that he's in charge and tries to keep things up in line. New school is always looking to become the next one. What is this? It's like the Sith. There's always two, the master and the apprentice. And the apprentice's destiny is to overthrow the master. Always is with the Sith. And here we're working the same thing. Certainly in dealing with pride. Loved Flores trying to getting mad at everyone. You haven't told me all that's going on. And also I loved how AWOL sort of turned things around on both Pride and the Runaways. Sort of makes the deal with with Alex, that Flores has all these files, has all this information, I'll turn this over to you, suckers him in, just as Alex was kind of suckering him in. And then turns around and goes to Pride and gives them all of Flores' files, saying, yeah, he's been planning on turning you around. I'll take care of him. I just want to be the new Flores. So, I love the maneuvering there. Oh, before I forget, I have to say, one of the best little moments in, what was it, in 9, I think, when they meet up with Flores in the restaurant and the team gets all surprised and Alex oversteps his bounds, pushes a little too hard, and they all end up on their knees. When Nico just stands up with a staff and pause, the shot where we have AWOL looking down and looking over and back, I mean, again, he's frozen, but just his eyes can move in that unreality of what the hell am I dealing with. It was such a great little moment. I love that. That was perfect. But definitely a mistake for Alex to try and trust and think that he can get one over on the deal. And this is, I think, one of the consequences of Alex's ruthlessness and secrecy. He is so obsessed with what he thinks he can see with his planning that he doesn't see a larger picture. And that was something his dad actually had hit on with him. He goes, you're super smart, but your problem is you think you're smart enough to wing it. You can always tell when you're winging it, and you think that you're smart enough to be able to figure it out. And this is Alex's weakness right here. And I think, fortunately now with Livvie getting kidnapped as a result of all of this, it's something that Alex is going to have to get over fast. And of course, with the defeat of Jonah, or the apparent defeat of Jonah, Leslie very committed to just dismantling the Gaborim Church. It's all a lie. It's based on lies an alien told my father. It's a good reason to close things down. Frank, though, not really into that. He's enjoying having been part of his church. He's enjoying the adulation that he has gotten, and in some ways it is kind of a perfect role for the actor to step into now. So we can see why Frank doesn't necessarily want that to go away. And he has a little bit of ammo considering Destiny's brother showing up right before the big final battle with Jonah. Was wondering who this guy was that was asking Frank and trying to pull him away. Don't know if he was really mad and trying to maybe have a little bit of revenge. Why he approached Frank initially in the middle of a crowd. Just gonna say, can we talk? Can I pull you away? And then I'll pull my gun and get on you. But it's a good little release. I like the fact that there is that rumors floating around that the Gaborim Church has been getting rid of people, that kids have been disappearing. It's certainly something that was implied all the way back up in our pilot episode when Destiny was being attacked, confronted by the two gentlemen on the street who commented after she went away with the church that she would have been safer with us. So there's definitely, they laid groundwork early on that there are rumors that the church is known for kids disappearing. Was definitely a very quick introduction and complication with, I'm Destiny's brother, I'm getting revenge, and I'm shot and dead. Didn't know Frank had it in him. Okay, it's a struggle, it's complications like that. But Frank is able to turn that downside into an advantage here now that Leslie is looking to close the church, because that's something that Frank definitely does not want. So hey, why not frame Leslie for murder? Already got, that's why he's taking the pictures there. So tell Leslie, I need help! Please, use your cops. So she calls her cops to get rid of the body, and then Frank takes pictures of that to use that against the with the Gaborum twins to frame Leslie. What his ultimate goal is, to push Leslie out and to get him to step up into the leader of the Gaborum church. That seems to be it. As much as Leslie wants to close the church down, she can't do it just by herself. And you have enough underlings of people that run it that want to keep things going. She's going to find a battle on her hand, especially if they have stuff against her, pictures of her murdering, framing her up. So really setting, as much as we saw Frank and Leslie kind of drawing together in the past few episodes, I think we're starting to see that split coming right now. And I don't know, when you're framing your wife for murder, I think that might be kind of a permanent split coming. Oh, and I have mentioned how much I'm enjoying Janet sort of stepping up into things, and I like Victor and Janet's relationship coming together, a lot more respect happening. Janet made the whole gravity thing to sort of take care of the ship, which Victor acknowledged was brilliant. Yeah, he had to throw in, I maybe had to make a few adjustments, but still was giving her the credit. It wasn't like you just had an idea and I had to perfect it, not the kind of douchebaggery that he was doing before. So I like that Victor does seem to have changed. I mean, even his when he runs into Chase there at that final battle, I mean, it gives him a hug, and I love the little quiet, wait for my signal. Kid, perfect dad, kid working together. Like the idea of it. But the whole science threesome that we had going, because we had Roger and Victor working together, or Robert and Victor. I keep wanting to call him Roger. Why? I have to go to work. We still have Robert and Victor working together to create some weapons to go up against the kids, because, yeah, Jonah's gone, but the kids are still out there, and the kids are armed and dangerous. But the fact that Janet coming in, and now she's going to be working with her husband and the man that she was having an affair with. I'll just talk to the elephant in the room. This is awkward. Yes, it is, Janet. But I kind of appreciate that dynamic. It's just want for complications, which, you know, is always fun with the show, right? All right, just a couple of small things here real quick. One, we've been getting some nice shots of Roxxon energy, which, again, classic Marvel villain corporation, but also heavily featured in Cloak and Dagger, which is kind of giving our, again, these are two youthful shows, youth-oriented shows. Sure, they take place in different parts of the country, New Orleans and Los Angeles, but we're still getting that little acknowledgement of the similarities of their worlds right now, which always implies potential crossovers or references further going, which I believe there has been a little discussion of. So just appreciate those little nuggets being dropped. Also, we got a nice Wakanda reference from Alex when he was showing Livvie around the hostel, the little underground house there. We was talking about phones. I have to say, just real quick, the fact when they found out that Flores has Molly's phone, and they're just like, all right, toss the burners. They just throw all of their phones out. Just again, smartness, great little view on that. But of course, Livvie didn't toss out her phone, could potentially being tracked. So Alex has to take care of her phone. But what's the line that he gives her? Look, I'll be making your new phones out in the mountains of Wakanda. Just great to have those larger MCU references, both to the films with Wakanda and, of course, like I was just saying, Roxxon with their other TV shows. I am totally a sucker for a good heist film, so I really appreciated the whole Ocean's 11 planning montage that went into the infiltration of the hotel. I love the little bits, the highlights on the valets, how they can't keep secrets and go in the back. I don't know, it's a simple thing, a little cheesy, but I appreciated it. It was definitely fun. And look, I totally thought that it was really smart of Alex to find out. I mean, one, smart of Pride and or the cops to cut or to delete the video evidence from the hotel security feeds about Darius being there. Well, they cut the moment of Darius, but anything else that went on. Definitely a smart move. And smart of Alex to look into the security feeds for the other businesses in the area, in the hotel, that are going to be run separately. However, it was definitely convenient that AWOL, Flores, and Catherine and Alex's mom met right in front of the one store they were able to get that video feed from. So, look, yes, it's going to catch anyone coming in and out of the hotel, but are they really going to meet and pass an envelope right there, smack dab in the middle of the video feed? Okay, it's kind of convenient. However, the one thing about that, finding out for Alex that his mom was behind the whole hit on Darius right there, and possibly everything else, maybe that's going to change his opinion on his father. Maybe a little bit. Certainly maybe that's really more where Alex gets his ruthlessness from, more from his mom than his dad. Though he's pretty ruthless too. And yes, we certainly had more of the Darius story going on, with Livvie looking to sort of clear his name. But I am really enjoying how Darius's legacy, kind of his contribution, is still playing out, particularly in Alex's view of the world. How when he was talking with AWOL and bringing up that Darius said, always know your opponent, and then thinks about it and is able to sort of break down where AWOL is coming from and what his motivation is and what he has wanted. It's nice. I mean, again, it plays up more on Alex's strengths, but it also continues this contribution, this legacy of Darius's character, which is great. And kind of, I don't know, it's easy to be mad at your parents you've known their whole life. For Darius, it's easy to sort of grab onto the pluses from him, but Alex also benefits in a way from the fact that Darius died because he wasn't around long enough to have disappointed Alex. So, kind of an interesting blend there, but I love the continuing contributions for Alex's evolution. There was one interesting comment made about Leslie's mom being banished from the church after her dad died, and she wanted to kind of contact her mom. And there's reasons why Jonah would want to kind of keep Leslie to himself without any additional influences. But I am really wondering if her mom's banishment is going to be something that's going to play coming forward. Either she returns as an older woman, or perhaps find out maybe her mom was one of the early sacrifices to keep Jonah's body alive. I don't know. But interesting bit of information. I don't think it's the last we hear from that topic. Alright, well I think that covers most everything, all the big stuff at least. So yeah, just a couple more episodes left, 4 more. I think I may just do that in one big final chunk review and get it done out of the way. Otherwise it feels like 2 seems too short. 3 and then 1, that doesn't seem right. So yeah, probably just do one more review with the last 4 episodes all together, and we'll do a little roundup. So that'll probably go longer than any of these other reviews. But that'll come in a couple of days. Look out for it, but it is going to wrap us up for now. So thank you as always for joining me with these reviews. And if you enjoyed them, please go ahead and hit that like button. Thoughts, ideas, and comments, throw those down in the section below. You can always catch me on Twitter and Instagram. I am at Darren Jakes. Please subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Quick and easy, 1 button press. You catch this. The Gifted. We got American God Season 2 coming up. We got the final season of Game of Thrones. This summer we're going to have more Preacher, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So exciting. Don't miss any of those reviews. If you are a subscriber, do that by clicking this button right here. And we'll throw up a couple of random reviews for you to check out right here. All right, so that's going to be it for me. I'm D, and I'm out of here. Catch you guys next time. Bye-bye.